Bitcoin's the only asset worth holding. Everything else is just fiat noise.
True for now.
Okay. Hi guys, yet another episode of Bullish Banter. How are you doing, Rufus?
I'm doing well.
Yes, since the last time a lot has happened. Any interesting event to update us so far?
Well, there's quite a number.
Yes.
New all-time highs every week on gold, silver, SP 500, Nasdaq, Dow Jones.
Yes.
And Bitcoin. Not a new high. I think today officially we are down 10% from the most recent high.
Okay.
And that gives us some really good entry points.
Excellent. Today we have another guest and we'll be speaking a bit about some interesting topic which I think once in a while we get after one episode on Bitcoin, we get another question on the same. And before we proceed, I have a question for you before you introduce yourself. Yeah? So it's a very simple question. Yes or no? Or truth or cap, yeah? Bitcoin's the only asset worth holding. Everything else is just fiat noise.
True for now.
Okay. Yeah, I got that from one of your tweets. Maybe you can introduce yourself a bit and then we can get on started.
Sure. My name is Jason. I am a co-founder of a company called Tando, based here in Kenya. We help you spend your Bitcoin anywhere that M-Pesa is accepted. A little bit about myself. I've been a digital nomad for 18 years, traveled to all 7 continents, 141 countries, multiple startups, both VC funded and bootstrapped. And yeah, just been an entrepreneur all my life.
Okay.
And really went down the Bitcoin rabbit hole about 10 years ago and haven't come back up since.
Are you still going down? Yeah?
Oh yeah, there's more to learn every day.
Okay. Excellent. Why did you first of all, or rather what first interested you about Bitcoin? And therefore, what made you stick?
Well, like I said, I was an entrepreneur for most of my life. And at one point I had a startup company, and to bootstrap payments, I implemented PayPal as the payment provider. About 6 months in, PayPal decided we don't want to take your business anymore. And so they kind of rug pulled our payment processing. And so I had to find another alternative. And so I went down the Visa MasterCard route, set that up. But that always kind of stuck with me in the back of my mind, like, oh, wow, people can just shut down your money. And then at some point I read an article about Bitcoin, which was uncensorable, unstoppable, decentralized money. I was like, hey, I need that for my business because I was, rugged by PayPal.
Yeah.
And so then I started looking to it. And eventually implemented it in the business. This is very, very early on.
Okay.
And so it's very just like, there's the famous quote, do things that don't scale. And this definitely didn't scale. It was all like Excel spreadsheets and manually giving addresses out to customers. But, the money worked. The Bitcoin worked. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Welcome to Bullish Banter. And here we talk about wins, losses, and lessons learned.
Okay.
And so far we have one loss for you, PayPal. From your Bitcoin early days, of course, before you integrate the entire blockchain to your company, so were you like buying it as a asset to speculate, or how did you get in, at least earlier on?
Yeah, for me, I've always been very experimental in terms of financial products.
Yeah.
I'd put $100 here, $500 there, $1,000 there, just to test the waters.
Okay.
And so Bitcoin was no different. I think it was maybe $100 at the time I bought. And I find once you have the asset, you're much more motivated to learn about it, right?
Okay.
And so then you're like, okay, what is this thing that I just bought? Especially when the value goes up, you're like, it doubled over a couple of weeks. You're like, oh, wait a second, what is going on?
Okay.
So, yeah.
You are maybe if you don't mind me asking, because Bullish Banter is some of the audience are traders, investors, and things like that. Have you been a trader before, investor before, or?
Not really, but when I started learning about Bitcoin, that's when I first learned about charts. I had never looked at a bar chart before, and all these different indicators. I didn't know what those things, like the volume and all this stuff. And so that was one aspect of Bitcoin that I learned about traditional markets through Bitcoin.
And how has the journey been so far?
After a while, I realized I'm not a trader. And especially as we're going through a monetary revolution globally, right now it just makes sense to buy and hold as much as you can.
Guys, I'm still stuck at 141 countries. I've known you for a while, a couple of years now, right?
Yeah.
So why Kenya? You explored all these countries.
Yeah, well, I was still on my nomadic journey. At one point, I thought I'd go to every country in the world.
Yeah.
And I came to Uganda originally to go see the gorillas.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at the visa process, I realized, okay, there's an East African tourist visa. Let me just get that. And then I can go to Kenya and Rwanda as well.
Yeah.
So I rented a truck in Uganda after seeing the gorillas, and I drove out to Kenya and Rwanda. And the weather here is great. People are great. Food is good. It's easy, relaxing life. People kind of leave you alone, which is kind of like what I like. Just you can go about your business and no one bothers you. And yeah, it's
Something about crypto people, you're always being left alone.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, whenever there's a 20% drop, hey, Junior, can you come down? What's happening to Bitcoin? Interesting. Yeah. And when you came in earlier, were you coming up? I mean, you came in as a tourist and then you started again to get into business. I believe that is the case, huh?
Yeah, when I was everywhere I would travel, I would kind of look and see what's the local Bitcoin scene. Are there any meetups and stuff like that? And it's also a great way just to meet locals that you kind of align with.
Yeah.
And so I originally found Bitcoin Data, which is an educational platform to help women learn about Bitcoin. And through Marcel, I went to one of their graduations and just kind of connected with the community. And then that's where I met my co-founder, Sabina, who's the co-founder of Tando.
Okay. I was reading something very interesting today as I prepare for this session, that, Kenya right now is around 13.4% in terms of crypto adoption generally. And of course, having, in terms of volumes on peer-to-peer, I think we are almost on top in Africa and at least top 5 in the world. And given your involvement and obviously your experience across and travels across, what is it that you notice, especially in the early days of crypto in the market, at least when you came in? What is that is unique about here, or a similarity between where you have come from, especially from the developed world and less developed perhaps?
Yeah, I think one thing that was interesting, like when I'd hop in an Uber and have a conversation with the driver, for example, they would always talk about how inflation was impacting them.
Yeah.
And you'd see even the posters in Carrefour, like, we're fighting inflation for you on behalf of you, and things like that.
Yeah.
So people felt that there was a problem with the money system.
Yeah.
Whether or not they had the time to really go down and study what the root cause was, I don't know if they had, but a lot of people saw crypto as a way to trade. I think also WorldCoin played a big impact here. People were lining up for free money, right? Who wouldn't? Yeah. But when you realize, why is it free? Well, because you're giving up something of more value to this company than you're getting in return, obviously. And so, people were looking for a solution to their money problem. Yeah.
Okay. Would you say with the, of course, the case of WorldCoin, I think there have been at least 2 or 3 or 4 coins that have been launched and people have been able to, get in so that whenever there'll be distribution or something like that, they're able to make money. Is that, and these are probably newbies, would you say going on later, and even though they have given up part of their data, that if they learn and know, okay, this coin can be of value in whatever form or possible, is a good intro for them, or maybe they should take some time to learn about it, or those who get in from trading like yourself?
Yeah, I went through that journey too. Like at some point I held crypto assets. I'm not proud of it, but that was part of my learning journey, right? And so I think one thing that really kind of bothers me in the crypto space here in Kenya is that everyone's begging regulators to come give them permission to operate. And I wish more people would just take self-responsibility and say, okay, I'm going to learn for myself. I don't need a regulator to tell me what's safe, what's not safe. I'll figure it out for myself.
Okay.
I think it's a better approach because, a regulator, they've got 700 other industries that they're involved in.
Yeah.
They can't be everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
So we as individuals, if we take responsibility for ourselves and we regulate ourselves and take responsibility, one, that'll lower your taxes because now you don't have to pay the regulators due to babysit you. So it's better for everyone if you just take responsibility for your own actions.
Interesting that you bring up the regulator issue, because I think we have seen SEC try to form some form of regulations, and every time either it fails spectacularly or basically they just regulate something else which is not actually what they intended to do.
So I remember last week, remember that tweet by former PM Raila Odinga about some funny coin that ended up putting a rug pull on people. Yeah, I think there's a big education gap in Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'd rather learn about Bitcoin and then hold some Bitcoin for yourself.
Okay.
Rather than get into the crypto industry, get conned, you already have a negative attitude towards Bitcoin out of a scam that didn't involve you.
Okay. So perhaps this influencer culture, because last time we had CJ Smart, you remember FTX saga, all these celebrities, Tom Brady and the rest are sort of influencing it. But at the end of it all, the company went bust. And then now Prime Minister is doing that. So what would you say of these influencers, especially in the crypto space, given, it is hyped as the quick millionaire scheme, beating everything else, but also people want to make money. So there is that desperation.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you really have to go down the rabbit hole of what is money.
Okay.
Because until you understand that, then all these other tokens, they might look like money, they might act like money, but they're not actual money.
Yeah.
Like even the dollars that we think is money is a credit instrument. It's not money.
Okay.
So I know that's a much deeper conversation. It takes a long time, but you really have to go down the rabbit hole to understand what is money.
Okay.
And once you get there, then okay, Bitcoin is money. Most other crypto assets, at best, if they're not scams, they're securities, right?
I think we have some time.
Exactly. I was about to ask you, okay, what is money? We'll start from there.
What is money? That's a good question.
Yeah.
So money is, well, there's different properties of money, right? Divisibility, portability, fungibility. These are all properties of money.
Yeah.
And so you can look at these properties and say, okay, this money is better at these properties than other monies. For example, for the longest time, gold was money on the planet, right? We started, human civilization started out doing barter trade, right? And then we realized, okay, well, if I have fish and you have apples and I don't want your apples, we can't trade. So we had to come up with something else that we both wanted. And eventually, we tried seashells, we tried other things. Eventually, we decided on gold because it's the most scarce, and it was the thing that was the hardest to produce. Is the most sound money. Gold was good until we broke it, right? Humans broke gold by defaulting. 1971, President Nixon defaulted on our gold obligations to France. And ever since then, we've been on this experiment of fiat money where governments can just print money at will. That experiment, I believe, is now coming to an end, and we're realizing we cannot operate a financial system on this imaginary money that anyone can print.
Okay. So you say you believe it's coming to an end. Is it because that now crypto is widely sort of adopted, or just fiat is basically failing, be it due to political or governance issues?
That's an interesting chicken and egg question. I definitely think Bitcoin has helped shine a light and kind of pulled back the curtain and shown us that there is a better way, right? I think, humans were always looking for a more optimal solution to any problem. And once we discovered that, okay, here's Bitcoin, it actually is better in all these properties of money than everything else we've tried before. Now we're in we're transitioning into that new system. Of course, that takes time. You can't do it overnight. And it will be volatile on the way up. But once we all get off this old system that is clearly not working fairly for 8 billion people around the world, we'll get to a better system.
I think it's some form of change in overall mindset for humanity, but it doesn't take one generation. It takes 2 or 3 generations for things to completely change. So while for us, we really struggle fiat mining. You're doing a business there. You have employment. You are providing the service. You are an athlete. All the money that you earn, when you try to keep it, you have to risk it by putting it in all these investments out there. Then over time, you realize that there's this asset, Bitcoin, and you're able to hold that value by just doing nothing. You buy Bitcoin, you hold it for 5, 10, 20 years, and it retains value. In fact, it gains in value. So once you have that experience in life, and let's say you have a couple of little kids, would you train them to go back to fiat or to adopt Bitcoin?
Me? Gold. I will go with gold. Today I'll be the gold man. I understand where you're coming from, but
How do you know that the gold you have is real gold?
Good question.
Do you have some tools, like you always test your gold?
Right. If someone gives you a gold coin, how do you know it's real?
No, I don't have the tools, but if I were to buy one, I'd buy at least from a verified vendor and then counter check it with at least 3 different parties.
So you're trusting another human. And
one.
as we established,
they will not know each other,
Yeah.
but I'll have to verify with other humans
Right.
or other vendors within the space. And obviously, 3 people who don't know each other, one of them will always be lying. And that will allow me to know, okay, I have the real one.
right.
Yeah. And
Well, that's
then-
the cool thing about Bitcoin is the software
yeah.
makes sure that the Bitcoin you have is
Yeah.
valid Bitcoin, and it does so every 10 minutes automatically for everyone in the world.
So same concept. Just mine, I have to work hard and waste some time.
Don't trust. Verify.
Definitely. Yeah. So it's good that you started with PayPal and then you're here where you are with the Tando, sorry. And you said you went into the rabbit hole. And in the crypto space, there is obviously the Bitcoin, the sort of the pension of that financial side of the world. And then there is the creation of systems like Bitcoin Dada and all these products or projects which are done within it. How did you, let's say, come into creating Tando? And obviously, what did you learn along the way in your rabbit hole?
Yeah, Tando came about because my co-founder, Sabina, she went through the Bitcoin Data course and she landed a job there. So she was getting paid in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
She was also doing transcriptions prior to that and also getting paid in Bitcoin from international clients.
Yes.
And so she was going through this very real pain point of how do I spend it? One of the great things that I've come to realize about Kenya is that Kenyans have already gone through this revolution of money on your phone. Like it's a very natural concept at this point with M-Pesa.
Yeah.
And so by just saying, okay, here's this other money on your phone, everyone's willing to accept that. It's like, okay, I get it. Money on my phone. Sure, I understand that. But the question people would always have is, how do I spend it? Because that's what you're used to. Money comes to your phone, you can spend it immediately.
Yeah.
And with Bitcoin, we had no solution to that. And so we realized, okay, people want to spend the Bitcoin. They're willing to accept it as money, but they want to be able to spend it by goods and services, right? And so we set out to build that. And so we saw, okay, M-Pesa is a fantastic set of payment rails here in the country. They have an API, the Lightning Network, which is layer 2 on Bitcoin, which allows for instant, very cheap transactions. If we just merge those two technologies into one, you could now have a system where you could spend your Bitcoin just as easily as M-Pesa. And so that's what Tando is.
Okay. And how is the adoption so far, at least from your experience and obviously from your interaction with merchants and even retail traders?
Sure. Well, that was kind of one of the other big insights is that we saw some people that were trying to go merchant by merchant and say, hey, you should accept Bitcoin. It's better money. And while I agree, that process, I looked at it as like, this is going to take forever.
Yeah.
There's probably about 200,000 merchants in Kenya. And those are like the official ones, plus, every other smoky guy and mama and boga that's on the street.
Yeah.
So that would take forever. And so I realized, okay, if you just unlock it just for the spenders, you don't have to worry about the merchants. And so one of the things with Tando is the merchant doesn't have to change anything about their business. They're going to receive Kenyan shillings just like they do today. Eventually they'll realize, hey, I want Bitcoin. And then they'll implement a point of sale system to accept Bitcoin natively. But until we get there, like you said, it's maybe a generation, if it takes that long.
Okay.
In the meantime, the spenders can spend Bitcoin. And that helps people realize, okay, Bitcoin is money. I can turn it into goods and services. Now I trust it as money.
Okay. Are you seeing more interest in terms of developing tools such as Tando, at least from your interaction with a lot of, I'd say, crypto events or Bitcoin events, whereby software developers, young, interesting people who are trying to understand this market, all these perhaps who have the money. How is that innovative space? I think recently we had Jack Dorsey around in terms of the Bitcoin conference, and I think right now he's working on a sort of a cryptography that you do not necessarily need a smartphone. You can even do it using Bluetooth. How is such development, progressing or fast tracking the aspect of payments and even how to spend Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general?
Yeah, there's the last Saturday of every month is a group called BitDevs Nairobi, and they meet here in Westlands. And every month, the crowd is getting bigger and bigger. More and more developers are coming in. They're finding interest in it. Personally, I believe at some point, like you said, everyone's going to realize you need a Bitcoin strategy. Every individual needs Bitcoin. Every company needs Bitcoin. Every country needs Bitcoin. It's just a matter of education. And so as that happens, almost just like the internet itself, everyone realized, hey, I need a website. I need an internet presence. I need an email address. There are going to be millions and millions of jobs needed around the world of people that can go into companies and say, let me help you with your Bitcoin strategy, set you up with a wallet, set you up with your payments process. So accounting, all these tools need to be built out. And so there's so much opportunity for developers to build these tools.
Okay. What are some of the detractors that you have encountered so far? Interacting with the smoking guy, supermarkets and everything. What are some of those challenges you see that are present, be it from regulators or even just user perspective?
It's probably just the stigma that people don't realize that Bitcoin is very different from crypto.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of scams in crypto.
Okay.
Right. And so people need to understand the difference between the two and focus on Bitcoin.
Good. What is Bitcoin?
If you were to
if you were to explain to a normie, somebody who is trying to understand Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and the blockchain, how would you put it in a simple way that makes them understand it?
Okay. I would say every form of money is just a ledger, right? It's a record of who owns what and how much they own.
Yeah.
So you look at your M-Pesa ledger, you look at your equity bank ledger, you look at any ledger, it's just a record of who owns what.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is the same thing. The only difference is it's the rules of the protocol are dictated by software.
Yeah.
And there's no individual person or company behind it.
Okay.
It's a set of rules, just like the internet is a set of rules. So it's a protocol for value transfer.
Okay. And the blockchain?
The blockchain is just a ledger.
Okay.
Right? The blockchain is just a database. It's a way to store data.
Okay. Very nice. Now, Bitcoin has been one of those, popping out sort of cryptocurrency. And last year we had Trump and Melania coin. I think earlier in the year. And what was happening in this year that you can think something happened last year. Why is it that Bitcoin comes out on top of in terms of most reliable, I would say, form of exchange or payment, as opposed to almost 1,000+ coins that are there?
Yeah. So Bitcoin is the only one that is a neutral protocol.
Okay.
Every other crypto asset, if you will, has some sort of company behind it. Like there's a Solana company, there's an Ethereum foundation, Trump coin, Melania coin. There's people behind these things. Bitcoin is a neutral protocol where there is no person, there's no company, there's no CEO, there's no headquarters, there's no marketing department. Yeah. It's a protocol, just like the internet is a neutral protocol.
Yeah.
So that's why it stands out above all the others, because there's no one that can change the protocol like you could. For example, Trump coin, I think it was World Liberty Financial, Justin's son, who is the founder of another protocol called Tron, the Trump Foundation or someone in the organization rugged Justin's son and said, you can't spend your tokens. Right, you can't do that on Bitcoin. There's no one that can disable your Bitcoin.
Okay, interesting.
I think it's also more about store of value.
Yeah.
Over its existence in 16 years.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone. In fact, there's no one who has bought Bitcoin, held for 4 years, and not made some good value out of it.
Okay.
At least a minimum of 25% return per year.
Okay.
And I'm talking about the worst possible entry and exit. Like you bought at the very top, you held for 4 years, then you sold on a dip.
Okay.
Like you still have your value stored. So that positive feedback loop where every time you buy some Bitcoin and a few years later you sell, you still have your value stored. That kind of makes it dominant.
Okay.
So even the crypto guys, the guys who are eventually, once they are done with their business,
because it's the best store of value.
Yeah. The reason why I'm asking that is because not everyone is trying to create something within the ecosystem because, maybe there are other things they're doing or something like that. But for those who are trying to, like yourself, maybe you're building a product that you can maybe mark up your pricing and therefore make some returns from it. Somebody who is young doesn't have that capacity, be it financially or time. How can they benefit from this ecosystem? Where do you see them benefiting, of course, besides, or even if it be it trading or something like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of my favorite features of Bitcoin is that it's permissionless, right? You don't have to ask for permission to use it. All you need to do is be able to generate a private key, which is just a very long random number. And you can do that by flipping a coin if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend doing it that way, but you could. And so because it's permissionless, you don't have to go get a business license. You don't have to go get a bank account. You already have the tools to accept money from anyone in the world that has Bitcoin. And so right off the bat, you can take your idea and test it in the market and just charge Bitcoin for it, right? You don't have to wait for permissions. You don't have to get approval from some regulator. You just go and you test your idea out in the free market. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, start over.
Okay. From those who, there are those who trade it as well. Of course, they still store their values or their savings or their loot from the market in Bitcoin, and there are those who trade it. How do you see those ones who are actively involved in the financial side of Bitcoin relating with those who are in the project building side? What is the commonality or difference between them?
I think the commonality is that everyone realizes they need Bitcoin.
Okay.
And so everyone's going to do whatever they can to get more Bitcoin.
Okay.
Which is, if you look at Tando, what we do, our whole goal is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible.
Yeah.
Because we know it's going to outpace
Michael
every other
Saylor
fiat currency in the world.
leaving you behind, eh?
What's that?
Saylor.
Oh, yeah. We can't compete with him. But
Okay.
he's figured out a hack.
Okay. Do you think, given his, of course, rise and obviously influence in the markets, that whatever he says, and even though you have said it is decentralized in nature, some of these big players, BlackRock, ETFs, which are coming up with the various variations of cryptocurrency ETFs, and even, companies like Tesla saying they'll accept, maybe you purchase a Tesla, but you'll accept it in Bitcoin. Do you think these people have an influence in how adoption of this space is going?
Not really, because at the end of the day, it's all about the protocol, which is the code that we all choose to run on our machines.
Okay.
They're welcome, like anyone else is welcome to contribute code if they want to.
Yeah.
And then it's up to us as individuals to say, yes, I like your code, or no, I don't want to run your code.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. You run a payment
I think
system.
for like sailors, the BlackRock,
Yeah.
Bitcoin is for everyone.
Okay.
Like individuals, companies, governments.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's enough Bitcoin for everyone.
Okay.
So what that means is that if you put your savings, let's say 100K Kenya shillings into Bitcoin,
Yeah.
and then the sailors and all these guys are just buying more and more, what ends up happening is your savings become more valuable.
Okay.
Yeah, they will drive prices higher, then your savings become more valuable.
Okay.
So it reinforces the Bitcoin as a tool to store value, to transact and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that also goes back to your question about development, right? So if Jack Dorsey develops something for Bitcoin, everyone in Kenya benefits, right? It's like a global network, just like the internet. If the internet gets improved, everyone that uses the internet gets the benefits of it. And so you've got these great minds like Jack Dorsey or Michael Saylor that are improving Bitcoin in different ways, and we all get to benefit from their inputs.
Okay. Interesting. You mentioned something about self-custody. And personally, I've been looking, or if you need a cold wallet, most of the time you'll have to import it, and a few players are the ones who are maybe importing and distributing it in Kenya. Perhaps you can explain a bit what is a wallet in the crypto space, and obviously self-custody itself as well.
Okay. So like I was saying, the blockchain is the ledger of record for Bitcoin. The Bitcoin never leaves the blockchain. It's always, the ledger always has every Bitcoin transaction ever for all of history.
Yeah.
So when you have a private key, what essentially you have is the way to unlock your Bitcoin and move it from your address to another address. So every transaction on the Bitcoin network is simply unlock and relock, unlock and relock.
Yeah.
So I'm unlocking it from my address and locking it to your address. That's the transaction, me moving funds from my address to your address.
Yeah.
So a self-custody is just a matter of keeping a secret. Like I mentioned, this private key is a very long number, a very random number. And so the human brain cannot manage that on its own. So you need some sort of tool. A simple computer is good enough. You can even do it with your smartphone. As you accumulate more and more value in your wallet, and sorry, let me back up. A wallet is just a tool that manages your private key, which is your very long number that is specific to you.
Yeah.
And so that tool is what allows you to unlock your funds and move it to someone else's address.
Yeah.
You can do it with a smartphone. You can do it with a laptop. You can do it with specific hardware.
Yeah.
And so kind of as you level up and as the value accrues, more value accrues to your Bitcoin over time, you'll want to look into, okay, how do I secure this more optimally for my situation? And everyone's situation is different, you know.
Yeah, because you guys mentioned something about putting your investment or your savings there for future days. The world right now is extremely, I think the total global debt exceeds the total GDP of the world.
Yep.
You know, you always wonder, whom do we owe this amount of money? And
the bondholders.
Exactly. Do you see there have been a lot of projections, crazy projections, I might say, 1 million per coin, 10 million, 10 billion, and whatnot. What is your thought on some of these projections, and are they feasible even to say?
Yeah, well, if you think about it, like real estate has been monetized. Real estate's a massive asset class around the world, right? People have put value into real estate because they can't keep it in the currency. The currency steals from you daily through inflation, right? So you need to do something with your stored value over time. A lot of people choose real estate because that historically has been a fairly reliable tool.
Yeah.
But that also, we're seeing now that poses a problem because younger people can't afford housing. Because people are storing their value in houses, that means the value of houses are more than they should be.
Yeah.
And so, sorry, what was the question again?
Do you believe the projections?
Right. So as things like once people understand what Bitcoin is, they'll start to move their money out of real estate into Bitcoin, out of bonds into Bitcoin, out of stocks into Bitcoin, and that's where you'll store your value. Okay. Sure, you'll still speculate on different asset classes if you want to. Yeah. But I think as a store of value, Bitcoin will take over in that regard. Okay. And so I think the last number I saw, there's like $1,000 trillion of wealth in the world stored in everything from real estate, bonds, stocks, art, cars, everything. Yeah. So take 21 million Bitcoin, which is the total number of Bitcoin ever, and divide that by $1,000 trillion, and that's the fair market value of one Bitcoin, which is huge.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting you say that people will start moving, because recently I saw Lewis Hamilton had sold all his cars, and then he decided to go into arts. And, who is buying painting right now in this current world?
There's rumors that's all about money laundering. I don't know. But
Rumors. A lot of rumors, right? Yeah. Now, the reason I'm asking about the debt and government intervention or involvement in this, because Trump has been saying that he will do, but of course he has to request for legislations for the same in terms of setting Bitcoin as a reserve to the economy. But some people, I would say, or Bitcoin maximalists, do not believe that putting Bitcoin as a reserve is a good. It centralizes it again as opposed to decentralization. What do you make of that?
Personally, I would like individuals to adopt Bitcoin sooner than governments. I think Bitcoin's always been a grassroots movement, whereas it benefits the individual because it protects you from the state in many regards. Yeah. But like you said, it's permissionless. So there's nothing we can do to stop governments from accumulating Bitcoin. Okay. Right? So it's going to happen, but I would like to see more individuals acquire it first.
Would you think it will be a positive force in terms of, one, mass education of people, at least on understanding the concept? Two, they might now decide that given gold has failed, the fiat has failed, we will rebase our currency to our fiat to Bitcoin reserve.
Well, I think, for me, you don't change Bitcoin. The rules are set. Yeah. Bitcoin changes you. Okay. So in a government that interacts with Bitcoin, it will naturally change after realizing what Bitcoin is. Okay. So if, for instance, they decide to put, let's say, a reserve, like a US strategic reserve where they store Bitcoin. Yes. So they also have other reserves of other stuff. Yeah. Let's say they have the Federal Reserve. Oil. Right? Yeah. So they hold on to Bitcoin for a couple of years. They see the value and they are like, wait, why can't we just put more here? Because this is working. Yeah.
But given the way Bitcoin is in terms of verification, security, permissionless, and more importantly, accountability, humans are the one who run government, and most of the time, accountability and humans don't go together. Yeah. So would you say, and even there's been these aspects of taxation and things like that, how do you see such, I would say, developments in terms of policy affecting either participation of people into Bitcoin or even generally, the developments within the space?
Well, we like to say that all 8 billion people on the planet need Bitcoin, right? Everyone is suffering from their value being stolen through inflation. Yeah. Every politician, every individual, everyone. Yeah. So once they realize that I need Bitcoin too, they're going to pass favorable regulations. They're not going to make a law that disfavors their own asset, right? Yeah. So if they're holding Bitcoin, they're going to make laws that are positive for Bitcoin. Yeah. So I think once people realize, oh wait, I need Bitcoin. Bitcoin solves my problems. Yeah. Like, for example, I know Kenya is going to have another conversation with the IMF here soon.
Yeah.
What if Kenya could get out from under that, out from under their thumb, and no longer need the IMF's debt? I think that'd be probably a positive thing.
Something like El Salvador, yeah?
Right.
From your experience so far, what was your, let's say when you came into Kenya and you met Bitcoin Dada, and now you have been in the space for a while, when you see somebody use it for the first time, how do you feel?
Oh, it reminds me of my first time. That first time you make a transaction,
Yeah.
and you don't really trust the system
Definitely.
to start with. But then when you make a transaction, you type in this address, which is just this long string of letters and numbers. It's like, okay, is this thing going to work?
Yeah.
And then you hit send, and you're waiting and waiting and waiting, and then 10 minutes, it shows up on the blockchain. It's like, oh, it worked.
Okay.
And then it shows up, even if you send to yourself, because then it's a pretty safe experiment, because even if it fails, you still have the money.
Okay.
But yeah, when it works for the first time, it's like, whoa. And especially now that we have layer 2, which allows for, like I was saying, instant and very cheap transactions,
Yeah.
it feels very similar to M-Pesa here in Kenya.
Yeah.
And so people are like, oh, okay, it's that simple and it's really cheap. For example, in Tando, there's no transaction fees. So people actually save money using Tando.
Yeah.
And so they realize, okay, I can spend anywhere that M-Pesa is accepted,
Yeah.
and I save transaction fees.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sold.
Okay.
Interesting. So Bitcoin is like M-Pesa without Safaricom.
Pretty much.
There's no company behind it, but
Yeah.
you literally just use the ledger
Yeah.
from peer to peer. Like, I've never thought about it that way.
I mean, that is basically it, because technically M-Pesa, you can say it's decentralized, but
There's one guy running
there is
stuff.
there is the person who is in charge of that decentralized system, Yeah, like God and the planets, if you believe in God, that is. In regards to, of course, Lightning, cost of trading, or rather cost of transaction, maybe you can explain a bit what is the Lightning network, and then also you can tie it with how does one who is getting into the space select, or which criteria does he use to select a wallet or maybe an ecosystem to use in terms of transaction? How does one go about that?
Okay. So Lightning, I'll get a little bit technical here. Hopefully that's okay. So like I said earlier, a Bitcoin transaction is unlocking coins from one address and relocking them into another address.
Yeah.
So that requires one key to do the unlocking.
Yeah.
There's a technology called multi-signature, which you can set up so it could be two unlocks are required to move the asset.
Yeah.
What Lightning does is it creates a 2 of 2 multi-sig, meaning that you and I each have a key to this transaction.
Yeah.
And when we do that,
Yeah.
we are establishing a off the blockchain channel between the two of us.
Yeah.
That means we don't have to broadcast our transactions to the main network.
Yeah. Okay.
So what the Bitcoin protocol developers have done, so there's this thing called the blockchain trilemma.
Yeah.
You get to choose 2 of 3. You either get decentralization, security, or scalability. You pick 2.
Yeah.
So what the Bitcoin developers did is they picked, we want maximum decentralization, maximum security.
Okay.
For scalability, we're going to go on a higher layer, just like the internet was built out, right?
Okay.
So you don't cram everything onto TCP/IP. You've got TCP/IP at the base layer, then you've got things like SMTP, other protocols up the stack that you use every day without knowing how they work.
I bet some traders got lost in between.
I'm sorry. Anyway, so what Lightning allows you to do is you get the security and the decentralization of Bitcoin at the base layer. And now on our personal channel, we can transact infinite number of times for practically zero.
Yeah.
And so that gives you the instant and free transactions.
Okay. What about wallet? What are some, because
basically you pay a transaction fee
Yeah.
when you are locking a transaction on the base chain.
whom do you pay?
The network.
The miners. It's the miners that get to benefit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you have unlocked a transaction and you have not locked it into a different address,
Yeah.
I'm assuming I'm getting this straight.
Yeah, you got it.
Now you can move it around
Okay.
all over the internet
Yeah.
without having to pay a transaction fee.
Okay.
So the guys supporting that protocol
Yeah.
are the one who get the minimal transaction fees on the Lightning layer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting that you have mentioned miners. Are there miners in Kenya?
There are.
Okay. And let's say, how is it developing? Maybe you can elaborate. What is it that gets one into the mining space? Maybe what do they need? And given the energy infrastructure that we have in Kenya with I will not mention who, but there's sometimes it's off and on. How are they faring on in term compared to maybe other places in the world?
Okay, this is the most important question
Okay.
because energy is the base commodity input to everything we do.
Yeah.
Right? The lights in this room, to make this shirt,
Yeah.
running this microphone, shipping this mug across the world,
Yeah.
everything requires energy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Every economic activity requires energy. Growing the coffee beans,
Yeah.
energy from the sun. So right now, energy is priced in dollars.
Yeah.
Right? A barrel of oil is basically the cost of energy.
Yeah.
And because of that, the world has an insatiable amount of demand for dollars. That's why we're on a US dollar standard. In most of Africa, there's a fantastic chart we should put up on the screen if we can do that, that shows there's no such thing as an energy poor, rich country. You need energy for industry.
Yeah.
Right? You have to put energy into everything you produce, our phones, everything, right?
Yeah.
And so if you don't have energy, you don't have industry. You don't have industry, you don't have jobs.
Yeah.
One of the amazing things about Bitcoin mining is that it requires a lot of energy to produce these hashes, which is what secures the network. So Bitcoin miners are energy buyers of first resort and energy buyers of last resort. I mean, they will go to any corner of the planet to get cheap electricity. And usually that means renewables.
Yeah.
So any running river, right? Any solar,
Yeah.
any wind,
Yeah.
Bitcoin miners will come there and just eat all of that electricity. And what we're seeing, like Ethiopia is a great example.
Yeah.
There's a big new hydro dam that's producing massive amounts of energy, but there's no infrastructure, there's no industry there yet to buy that electricity. So the Bitcoin miners go there because they know they can get energy that no one's competing for. So it's very cheap electricity, which is their major input to their expenses.
Yeah.
So they will buy that electricity from the grid or from the energy producer.
Yeah.
And now on day one, that energy producer is already making money. They don't have to wait for a hospital to come get built. They don't have to wait for a factory to come get built. They don't have to wait for a town to spring up.
Yeah.
They're already selling their electricity on day one.
Okay.
That makes them more profitable. And also, as the buyer of last resort, everywhere in the world, there's extra electricity, right?
Yeah.
When you turn on the light switch in your house, you expect the lights to come on.
Yeah.
When the light switch is off, that electricity is still going into your house.
Yeah.
But you're not paying for it because you're not using it.
Yeah.
So that's wasted electricity that's just getting right into the ground, just wasted.
Okay.
So you could put a Bitcoin miner there and monetize that energy.
Okay.
Now you make the energy producers more profitable.
Okay.
Once they're more profitable, that means the individuals have to spend less on their electricity. So long story short is Bitcoin miners will incentivize more reliable, renewable, cheap electricity across the continent,
Okay.
which will bring everyone's electricity prices down, bring more industry in because now you have cheap electricity that you can turn into goods and services.
Okay.
And now it also bring the price down for individual energy buyers.
Okay. So you think, given, I think we have geothermal in Olkaria here, and obviously I believe the Grand Renaissance Dam in Ethiopia, around 5,000 megawatts.
Boss, we literally have a lot of waterfalls in the country.
Yeah.
Some of them used for tourism. We just go take photos. and that's literally an energy generating factory
Yes.
right there that is underutilized.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm asking in sense of these miners, are they like the number of miners themselves in Kenya, are they expanding given of course, the now new energy source that is coming? And given you've said they go to energy cheap, those who are in Kenya, are they maybe foreign because they came for renewable energy, or it's a collaboration between foreign, I would say, miners or corporates and the local parties who are interested in that field?
Yeah, I know there's a great company here in Kenya called Gridless Compute.
Yeah, okay.
And they have gone to remote villages where there's already an energy producer. Like I said, the turbine is spinning.
Yeah.
That water is coming down the mountain.
Yeah.
So it's spinning 24/7, 365. But the people in those villages don't have enough income yet to spend money on electricity. So what Gridless does is they come in and they buy all the excess electricity, which makes the power producer more profitable, which means that they can actually lower their prices so that the villagers can now buy and afford the electricity.
Okay.
And so now people are no longer using the kerosene lights, or they're using electricity, and they charge their phones, and they can build factories, and they can do all these other things that you need electricity to do. So the village can turn into a town, which can turn into a city, and industrialize and become more profitable and more jobs.
So not only does it have value in terms of redefining money or how the money is evolving, but also it plays a part in developing the GDP of those places, those small places, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Maybe from somebody who is not maybe a tech savvy person, And there are those, I would say, traditional finance believers or evangelists, because you are a Bitcoin evangelist right now. And they are very strongly against Bitcoin, be it on trading for value or putting your savings there as a safe sort of haven for your hard earnings. What would be your message to them, especially in terms of why should they consider it, in terms of, besides the value, of course?
You're saying there's people that are against it?
Yeah, there are people who are against it. They do not believe it even 1 single cent.
Good. There's more for me. You should wait longer. Wait much longer.
Okay.
So I can get more Bitcoin. Thank you for your service.
Maybe
You'll figure it out eventually.
They'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. In terms of the future, and of course your product that you are building, and obviously the adoption, and obviously all this development like AI and everything, what do you maybe foresee or predict will be the key change in terms of how this space progresses?
I think as people realize more and more that the fiat experiment is not working, it is not a fair system to 99.9% of the people on the planet, because most people don't have financial assets that they can protect their value in. They're going to seek solutions, right? When people feel pain, they look for solutions. And I think the pain is going to get more and more acute because governments have to debase their currencies to pay off their debt. It's just math at this point. And so there's going to be more pain through inflation, and people will seek alternatives.
Okay, interesting that you mentioned pain and things like that. Would you say cryptocurrencies for either computer science or software engineer gurus? And if you were to advise a young person who is a trader, maybe they are trying to look for something else to do with their free time when they are watching their prices of gold go up or down, wherever it is, where would you advise them as a beginner place in terms of developing some projects within this industry?
I think like most new technologies, it's confusing to the masses at first. It has to get to a point where the tooling is in place so that more people can develop on the protocol. We're right now, we're just on the cusp of that.
Okay.
I'm not a C++ developer. I can't go into Bitcoin core code and tell you how it works. But as more people develop more tools, like Lightning, for example, there are more layers that people can build upon. And there's more SDKs, more APIs. And so it gets easier over time. Anyone can spit up a website these days with something like WordPress. Like, it's not that complicated. So we're getting to that point with Bitcoin. It just takes time to build out all these tools. So for the person that's listening, sitting there, for me personally, I always find the best way to create is solve a problem for yourself. Scratch your own itch. Ask yourself, where am I spending most of my time that I feel like I could save time? If you can save someone time or money, you can usually charge them for that service. So ask yourself, where am I wasting my own time? How can I optimize that? And now can I turn that into a service for someone else to buy from me?
Okay. Yeah, well, I think I've learned a lot. I hope your listeners have learned. And
that's a masterclass.
Of course. My head is still spinning a bit, but I think I'll settle down at some point. From your, I would say, interaction, you have mentioned that, is it when do you have your regular meetings, at least in Nairobi?
Oh, the last Saturday of every month, BitDevs Nairobi. I think it's bitdevsnbo.org is the website. You can go and anyone's welcome. You don't have to be technical. We have conversations about design of Bitcoin tools. Come through.
Okay. Maybe your closing remarks, any words of advice? Before you get there, what are some of the books that you are reading within this space of Bitcoin and crypto?
The Bitcoin standard is kind of like I'll use the term, the gold standard.
Like the Bible.
The Bible. That's a good one to kind of going back to the first question. It's like, what is money? Right? That helps. Gosh, there's so many. Lynn Alden has a great book called Broken Money that really points out, what is the problem we're solving here? I think those would be two good ones to start with.
A podcast or maybe shows that you listen to, something like that?
Which side? TFTC is a good one. Tales from the Crypt, or Tales for the Commoner, I think is now called. Two guys, Marty and Matt, they talk about all things Bitcoin, both technical, philosophical, what's happening in the industry. That's a good one.
Okay. Now, your closing remarks, maybe where can people find you as well?
You can find me on X at Tando_me is the company. Also, the website is tando.me. We're happy to have more discussions about Bitcoin. Happy to help answer any questions, get you started. Study Bitcoin. It is the financial revolution is underway, is going to impact all of us. You do not want to be caught offsides or surprised. It's better to understand what's happening now before the massive rug pull happens. That is Fiat.
Well, I think you forgot something.
Yes.
Yeah. To our listeners, if you've enjoyed the podcast so far, make sure to leave us a like, subscribe, leave us a comment, and of course, do us a review.
Yeah.
So on top of that, we have a very interesting offer. We have 100% credit on your first-time deposit, and this is capped at $5,000. This means that if it's your first time trading on a live account and you deposit money up to $5,000, we top up 100% on top of your account. Thank you.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, it's a good deal, really good.
Yeah. And if you use it to make your loot, you have somewhere else you can consider putting it on.
Take your profits, turn it into Bitcoin.
Yeah. I think, Jason, this has been a good session, and I hope that we definitely have this conversation again. I think for those who are looking to get into the crypto space, they are getting a proper introduction, and this has been more technical than the other guy. By the way, we did taxes, so you can go and listen to CJ Smart. Yeah. Now we have done payments and discussion, and obviously what is money. I hope you have learned if you have never attended an economics class. That was a free economics session. And the future of money. And of course, do not forget to join BitDevs on the last Saturday of every month, and obviously follow Tando. So traders, you are asked for a crypto expert. This is 2.0 crypto. Every month, I think we can be able to be doing one crypto episode for listeners. So keep an eye on Bullish Banter on YouTube. Keep an eye on Bullish Banter on Instagram, TikTok. And if you find us outside there, do not hesitate to ask a question. I've been your host, Jesse. Adios.
Yeah, let's continue this conversation on Telegram.
Yeah.
Now that Bullish Banter has a Telegram community, make sure to join using the links below. Let's talk.
Happy trading. Happy hodling.